Wanted to hop on here. Hi, just wanted to hop on real quick and share something with you guys. Not this past week that just ended, but the week before, like last week, was really, really a rough week for me. I wasn't really on Facebook or social media at all, so I didn't really have any posts, but it was really rough. And I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about kind of how I was able to get through it, because sometimes how something happens and it could be something that somebody says or something somebody does or something happens to you and you're just really upset. You're really frustrated. It's so easy to be angry and blame the other person and think about, how awful they are, how jacked up this thing is that they did. And, you're kind of like, I'm not taking it in me, and it's not me that's feeling, it's like them. They did this horrible thing. I'm so upset with them, and this happened. And I'll tell you guys, even a few months ago, maybe like last year, this would have had me like totally reeling upset, and I would have been in my my world here, my little circle, thinking about how awful this was, and I would have been talking about how messed up this was, and that would have been it, and it would have been so much external blamed on this person. And I think just because everything that I've gone through in becoming a life coach and studying is really, a lot of it is really me taking time to step back and step away from some of the emotional angst and really just think about what's happening and what I'm feeling, kind of be a watcher looking in and analyzing the situation. And also it helped me to talk to my coach. I mean, it helps a lot to have someone to talk to and talk things out with, because a lot of times, you're thinking something, you're feeling something, and we don't mean to, but we have our whole story in our head about what happened and what it means, and we don't think it's a story. I mean, we totally think it's fact. It's an observation of what happened, but it's our side of it, and our side is totally based on our experience and our thoughts about the players that are involved. So it's not really black and white fact. It's our story, literally. But of course you can't see that when you're in it. You're thinking that no, it's what this person did, what they said. But just kind of doing some self-coaching, going through, writing out my thoughts, and also talking to my coach and soundboarding some things off of her have really helped me kind of really see that despite what happened or despite what someone said or did, it's not them. It's like they are just completely neutral. It's just something that happened, it's something that they said or did. But it's what I thought about it, what I made that mean, what they said or what they did. It was me. I made it mean something to me that resulted in me feeling hurt and angry and being upset. And in reality, nobody can hurt my feelings. And so you guys know this too. I don't know if you've been through something like this, but just so you know, no one can hurt your feelings. They can't. They do not have the power to do that, regardless of what they don't. What hurts our feelings? It's us. It's because of how we interpret or how we decide to view whatever they said or did. And we make that mean something, and we translate that into hurt. So if we control that, then we can choose not to be hurt. And so this was really kind of like an epiphany for me, like, oh my gosh, that I don't have to be hurt and angry about what happened. That was a choice. I can choose to see it differently. I can choose to, be neutral. I can choose to have another feeling. I can choose. What I chose for me personally was acceptance. So that felt so much better than anger. And I was able to make plans and make moves and do things from a place of just acceptance, cool, calm, and, just doing what I needed to do, as opposed to, because the way you act when you're angry is totally different. You act out, it's not always reasoned and rational. But when I had calm acceptance, when I was able to view it, and like I said, again, like a couple months and definitely a year ago, this would have had me spiraling and I would have been angry and I wouldn't have been able to do this. But I was able to kind of process it and just be in a place of acceptance, to see what happened, not in anger, but just as a neutral situation that happened, to have a different thought, not, oh, this is so jacked up, what they did. It's just like, okay, that was their choice to do that, and that's fine. That was it. I was able to just kind of have an accepting feeling, and then able to take steps and actions that I wanted to kind of move me towards what I wanted to happen, and not just have me spiraling in some sort of circle there, being angry and just kind of venting and then have that go nowhere. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I just wanted to let you know that the main thing I want you to know is no matter what happens in life, no matter what somebody says or does to you, they cannot hurt your feelings. They cannot make you feel bad. They can't. They don't have that power. We have the power. Only we have the power to hurt our own feelings. So for me, I have the power to hurt my feelings. It doesn't matter what someone says. It doesn't matter what happens at work. If I happen to be, working in an environment I don't like or whatever. You know, sometimes it happens, tends to hostile work environments. It doesn't happen if I have an argument with my husband. None of that. That can't hurt me. Only what I think about it can hurt me and lead me to feeling hurt. And the big thing is not only what I think about it, it's what I choose. Because remember, it's totally an option to me. I can choose to think negatively. I can choose to think something bad. I can choose to interpret it as this awful thing and feel hurt, or I can choose to feel something different. So that's the key, is that it's our thoughts that give us the feelings we have, so we can always choose that. It's nothing anybody said or did. It's what we make that mean ourselves, but also that we have an option. We can choose to make it mean something negative, or we can choose to have it mean something else completely different. Like I said, I was angry. I didn't realize at the time. I really thought, my belief, my mind was that no, this happened and that's why I'm angry, because of this situation. But it wasn't. And I'm glad I didn't share with you guys in the midst of it, because, you know, I'm sharing now, but when it was happening, I was so angry and emotional. I don't even know how that would have come across. But now that I've had time to process it a bit, then I can share it to you guys in a way that just really highlights what I want you to take from it, is that no matter what somebody says or does, they can't hurt my feelings. I do that. It's what I think or I choose to believe that causes my feelings to be hurt. So I hurt my own feelings. That's not something somebody can do. So it's always an option, and we have the control. Like, we have the power ourselves. So whatever happens to you, somebody does something jacked up, and you're angry and you think, oh my gosh, no, it's what you're choosing to think about it. Just remember that. It's your choice. You have the power. We never want to give away our power to someone else. We have the power. We can choose to be, like I chose, accepting and move on, or we can choose to be angry. But it's always our choice. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, because one thing that is really becoming more and more clear to me, just relationships in general, you know, just all of it, the situations, they're not, the relationships themselves, all they really are, like my relationship with somebody is really my thoughts about that person based on my experience, you know, with that person, and just experience in general that colors that view. I could think somebody's awesome and somebody next to me could think they're just absolute dirt. And it's really just because of how we view the person, how we think about them, which is colored by our experience. So again, we have the power, we have the authority, we have the control for that. So always, our feelings come from us. No one can hurt our feelings but us. It's a choice. So we can choose to be hurt. We can choose to allow our feelings to be hurt, or allow us to hurt our feelings, or we can choose to think something else and not have that hurt feeling. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because like I said, not this week that just ended, but last week was really horrible for me. And I had a lot of emotion going on, and a lot of that emotion was anger. But this is how I was able to process and work through it. Self-coaching, writing out my thoughts, and kind of really seeing and picking apart. And sometimes it makes a difference when you're thinking something in your head and when you say it out loud. And not even when you say it out loud, you know, you write it down and you kind of see it differently. But again, talking with my coach, that helped too, just saying it to someone else. Because sometimes, you know, what we're thinking, it totally makes sense in our head. Then you say it to someone else, and then they ask you a question or say something back, and you're like, I didn't think of it that way. That's true. I am kind of choosing that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that gives you some, you know, that touches someone and shares some benefit, you know, it gives you a little bit of peace, and gives you, you know, a tip to kind of move forward through something. And if there's anybody that you know who could use this, please feel free to share. That's what I want to do, is as I'm going through my journey here and becoming the person that I want to be, and again, I attribute that all to my coaching, I want to share and help other people do that too, because it does no good. You know, I don't want to be the one person with the secret holding it all in. It only makes sense. It's only a benefit and a blessing if I'm able to bless others with it. So all right, let me know if you guys have any questions, and I would love to hear if you have been through something like this, or, you know, you've had something where, I'm sure we've all had something where someone said or done something that angered us, and how you dealt with it, and what do you think about what I just shared with you. And if you'd like to kind of bounce through or practice doing it, we could totally do that too, because I would love to see if that could help you, and maybe you would feel differently and just feel more empowered in whatever situation you're in. Okay, well, you guys have a great one. Bye.